Hello students, I am CG sir. In this lecture, I will discuss linear transformations, the standard differences, the book of linear algebra by Hoffman and Kunje, chapter 3, section 3.1. So, first of all, in the previous few lectures, we have discussed about the linear equations and the vector spaces. And this is the first lecture of linear transformation. So what is linear transformation? Let V and W be two vector spaces over the same field F and T be a mapping from the vector space V to W. Then this mapping is called linear transformation if T of C alpha plus beta equal to C T alpha plus T beta for all alpha beta belongs to V and C belongs to F. What are the examples of the linear transformations? Let V be a vector space over any field F and I be a transformation such that I of alpha equal to alpha. That means the identity mapping for all alpha belongs to V. Then one can check that I of C alpha plus beta equal to C into I of alpha plus I of beta for all alpha beta belongs to V and C belongs to F. So one can easily check that I is a linear transformation and this transformation is called the identity transformation. Next example 2, let F be any field and V be the space of all polynomials with the coefficients of capital F of the field F. So what are the elements of V? These are looking like C0 plus C1x plus dot 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 ck x to the power k, where ci's are taken from F and k is any natural number. So I am not fixing the degree of the polynomial. Now let us take d be a transformation from V to V. It is defined by d over fx, that is equal to c1 plus 2c2x plus dot 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 k into ck x to the power k minus 1. That means it is the differential operator. So you can now verify that it is also a linear transformation. So you have to take two arbitrary element f and g from V, then d of cf plus g, you can prove that c into df plus d of g. Next example 3, let f be the field of real numbers and V be the space of all continuous functions from R to R. Now the mapping T from V to V is defined as T of f of x equal to integral 0 to x ft dt. Here also you can prove that, so it is your home task, you can prove that this T is also a linear mapping or linear transformation. Sometimes in some books it is also called linear homomorphism. So don't be confused with the term homomorphism. Note here that TF, here the function obtained TF, it is not only continuous but it has also the first derivative. Since it is written in the form of 0 to x ft, so definitely it has the first order derivative. Next example, let F be any field and A be an m cross n matrix. It is a fixed matrix, so the entries are from the field F and V is the space of n cross 1 vectors and W is the space of m cross 1 vectors. Now we are defining a mapping T from f n cross 1 to f m cross 1. How? Tx equal to Ax. Okay, so any element from here Tx, it will be Ax. A is fixed m cross n and x is m cross, sorry, x is n cross 1, so definitely Ax will be m cross 1. Clear? One can check that this is also a linear transformation. Example 5, F be any field and A be a fixed m cross n ordered matrix. Now we are taking V is the space Fm, that means the elements of m tuple taken from F. W is the elements of n tuple taken from F. T is a linear transformation. T is a transformation or mapping defined from V to W as T of alpha equal to alpha A for all alpha belongs to Fm. So now you can also check that this is also a linear transformation. All these examples you must verify at your home. Example number 6. Let F be any field and P be a square matrix of order M, Q be a square matrix of order N, and these two matrices are fixed. V be the space of all M cross N matrices over F. Now T be a mapping defined from F M cross N to F M cross N, V to V, defined by TA equal to PAQ. Look here, P is M cross M, A is M cross N, so PA is M cross N, again Q is N cross N, so PAQ is again M cross N. Now you can check that this is also a linear transformation. How? You will take two arbitrary vector A, capital A and B from F, M cross N, and C is any scalar, then T into CA plus B, you have to check this is equal to C into TA plus TB. Fine. Now we have one observations. Suppose T is any linear transformation from the vector space V to W, then T takes the null vector of V to the null vector of W. This holds for any linear transformation. Next, we have a very elementary theorem but important. Let F be any field and V be a finite dimensional vector space over the field F. Suppose that dimension of V equal to n, and let B equal to alpha 1, alpha 2 dot dot alpha n be an ordered basis for V. Okay. Suppose W is another vector space over the same field F, and beta 1, beta 2, beta n, these are some arbitrary vectors in W. Then the conclusion is that we must get a transformation from V to W such that this transformation takes alpha I to beta I, T of alpha j equal to beta j for all j equal to 1 to n, and this transformation is unique. So there exists precisely one means unique linear transformation T from V into W such that T of alpha j equal to beta j. So here we have two parts. First of all, we have to find a linear transformation T, such linear transformation exists, then we have to show it is unique. Proof. Let alpha belongs to V such that the coordinate of alpha with respect to this B basis is equal to x1 x2 dot dot xn. Okay, then definitely alpha can be represented as c1 alpha 1 plus dot 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 cn alpha n. Now we define a linear transformation, we define a mapping, not now linear transform, we have to check it is linear transformation. We define a mapping T from V to W in the way T of alpha equal to x1 beta 1 plus x2 beta 2 plus xn beta n dot dot xn beta n. So any alpha is taken to this element, because beta 1, beta 2, beta n, these are given set of vectors in W. So definitely, since W is a linear transformation, W is a vector space, so definitely this element belongs to W. So T alpha is taken to this element by T for all alpha equal to this. So definitely T is well defined. Let us choose beta be another element in V. So beta can be represented as the linear combination of alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n as y1 alpha 1 plus dot dot yn alpha n, where y i's these are taken from y no yes this is C. Yes, these y's i's are taken from F. Now C is any scalar. So C alpha plus beta will be Cx1 I have done a mistake. This is x1 xn cx1 plus y1 into alpha 1 plus dot 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 cxn plus yn into alpha n. This is again an element of V because it is a linear combination of alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n. Now we know this transformation T of, we know this mapping T of C alpha plus beta equal to T of this, okay. T of this will be, as per the definition, coefficients into beta 1, so cx1 plus y1 into beta 1 plus dot dot cxn plus yn into alpha n. This is as per this definition. Now we find Ct alpha plus T beta. Ct alpha means C into x1 beta 1 plus dot dot xn beta n plus y1 beta 1 plus dot dot yn beta n. So if we add them, we get this. Now from 1 and 2, we get that the right hand sides are equal. So definitely T of C alpha plus beta equal to Ct alpha plus beta, and hence T is a linear transformation such that T of alpha j equal to beta j, because here if we put T of alpha j means its coordinates are 0 0 0 1, the jth coordinate is 1 comma 0 0 0. So definitely that will be 0 beta 1 plus 0 beta 2 plus dot dot 1 into beta j plus dot 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 0 beta n. Okay, so T of alpha j will be beta j. This holds. Next part is the uniqueness. If possible, there exists another linear transformation u from V to W such that the same thing holds, u of alpha j equal to beta j. Now let alpha be an arbitrary vector x1 alpha 1 plus dot dot xn alpha n belongs to V. So u of alpha, since it is linear transformation, u of this equal to x1 u of alpha 1 plus dot dot xn u of alpha n. Again, since u of alpha j equal to beta j, this is x1 beta 1 plus dot dot xn beta n. And according to the definition of T, this is T alpha. So definitely u alpha equal to T alpha, but here alpha is an arbitrary vector. So u alpha equal to T alpha holds for all alpha belongs to V. Therefore, the transformation u and T are same. Therefore, the mapping T from V to W, this is unique linear transformation such that T of alpha j equal to beta j. Next part, the range of a linear transformation. Let T from V to W be a vector space. Then the range of T is defined at the set of vectors in W, the set of vectors beta in W, such that it is the image of some alpha, which alphas are taken from V. So set of beta belongs to W such that beta equal to T alpha for some alpha belongs to V. And it is easy task to check that this RT, this range of T, is a subspace of W. It is your home task. And the dimension of the range of T is called as rank of T. Next, we have the kernel or null space. Let T be a linear transformation from V to W. And the null space of T is the set of elements alpha in V such that its image is theta in W. Okay, T alpha equal to theta. One can easily verify that this N, the null space, is also a subspace of V. Here RT is a subspace of W, here N is a subspace of V. It is easy task. And the dimension of the N is called the nullity of T. Next, we have the very important theorem but well known. Let V and W be two vector spaces over the same field F, and T be a linear transformation from V to W. Also, V is finite dimensional with dimension n. Then the conclusion is that rank of T and nullity of T equal to dimension of V, n. Okay, how to prove it? Let alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha k spans the null space of n. So I am taking here V is the vector space, W is this vector space. We have this transformation T. Okay, and this portion is suppose n, so all elements are goes to theta, and suppose this portion is our rt. Okay, total image. So so definitely these all elements are these, but these here these elements also goes to this. So what is alpha 1 alpha to alpha n? Alpha 1 alpha to alpha n, this is a spanning set, sorry, alpha k, this spans n, the null space n of t. Now by the extension theorem, since the dimension of V is n, we can get alpha k plus 1 dot dot alpha n, adding 1 by 1 to this spanning set, which spans or which is the basis for V. So with this we will take the union of alpha k plus 1 alpha n, and that will be the basis for V. Okay, then t of alpha 1 equal to comma dot dot t of alpha n, these are the basis of V. So t of alpha 1 dot dot t of alpha n definitely spans the range of t rt, but t of the but alpha 1 alpha 2 dot alpha k, these are taken from n. So t alpha 1 dot dot t alpha k, these are all theta. So definitely the remaining vectors t alpha k plus 1 comma dot dot t alpha n spans rt. Okay, now we have to check these are linearly independent or not. Choose ck plus 1 dot dot cn be scalars. Then we are taking ck plus 1 t alpha k plus 1 plus dot dot cn t alpha n equal to theta. We have to check these coefficients are all 0. Since t is a linear transformation, the left hand side can be written as t of ck plus 1 alpha k plus 1 plus dot dot cn alpha n equal to theta. Now t of this quantity equal to theta means definitely this element is lying in the null space n. Now let alpha equal to ck plus 1, suppose this element is named by alpha. Okay, but alpha 1 dot dot alpha k, this is the basis. So this alpha must also be represented as a linear combination of this. That means we will get some scalars beta 1 dot dot beta k in F when alpha equal to beta 1 alpha 1 plus dot dot beta k alpha k. First we rename this vector, then we represent this as the basis with respect to the basis of n. So definitely this element and this element both are equal. So we take all them to the left hand side, b1 alpha 1 dot dot bk alpha k minus ck minus 1 alpha k plus 1 minus dot dot minus cn alpha n equal to theta. But alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n, this is a basis of V, so they are linearly independent. So the coefficient b1 b2 bk ck plus 1 dot dot ck, these all are 0. Okay, that means individually ck plus 1 dot dot ck equal to 0. So definitely from here we get that t alpha k plus 1 dot dot t alpha n, these are linearly independent. So these are linearly independent means this is a basis for rt, because already we have proved that these elements spans rt. Now we are proving these are linearly independent, so this is a basis for rt. So how many elements are there? There are n minus k number of elements. So dimension of rt is n minus k. So also dimension of the null space has been taken as k, as k elements spans this, hence rank of t plus nullity of t equal to n equal to dimension of v. That's all for today.